Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the May 12th meeting of the State Board of Education. We are pleased that all of you are here this morning. I see lots of great smiling faces, and it's going to be a great day today. So we appreciate you being here this morning. We always try to begin our meeting with a moment of silence to make sure that we're focused on what we need to be doing and for wisdom and for guidance. So join me this morning in a moment of silence. Thank you. Well, we have something pretty wonderful to start off our day with. We're going to recognize some outstanding young people, the National Youth Science Camp delegates, Dr. Pride and Ms. Snyder.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you for this opportunity. We are so excited. We're going to do some catching up. Michelle Snyder, DESE Science Program Manager, and we're going to catch up a few years. And if you do not mind, Madam Chairwoman, we're going to start with our leading teachers to go first.
Okay.
And then
right.
we'll move to our students.
Okay.
So to begin, the Presidential Awards for Excellence in Mathematics and Science Teaching are the highest honors bestowed by the White House Office of Science, Technology Policy, specifically for K-12 science, technology, engineering, mathematics, and computer science teachers. The awards were established by Congress in 1983, and the President may recognize up to 108 exemplary teachers each year. Awards are given to STEM teachers for each of the 50 states, District of Columbia, and the U.S. territories. To begin, we're going to acknowledge our 2019 Presidential Award Mathematics and Science awardees for grades 7 through 12. First, we would like to acknowledge Melody Murray. Melody Murray was the awardee for mathematics. She comes from Pocahontas High School, Pocahontas, Arkansas, and she teaches general and AP high school mathematics courses for grades 10 through 12. In addition, she is a National Board Certified Teacher. Thank you. Come on over here. Congratulations. Come right over here on this side. Thank you. Second, I'd like to acknowledge Mary Beth Hatch as the Science 2019 awardee. Mary Beth was the Harrison Middle School teacher at the time. She taught environmental and spatial technology for grades 6 through 8, and currently is our STEM program model leader, STEM integration specialist for DESE. Thank you. Next, we'll move on to the 2020 awardees. In the math category, Lindsay Hall. Lindsay Hall is from Bernice Young Elementary in Springdale, Arkansas. Ms. Hall teaches all subject areas in grade 3. Congratulations. And finally, in the science category for 2020, Lisa Taylor. She is from Willis D. Shaw Elementary, Springdale, Arkansas again. Ms. Taylor is a National Board Certified Teacher who teaches all subject areas in grade 5. Thank you. Would you like to come down and take a photo with our recipients, Secretary Key and Madam Chairwoman Newton?
Yeah.
Principal leaders, please. Michelle, you want to be in? No. Put y'all here in front. Yeah, in front of the podium.
I have my family with me, but
We want Y'all are okay with me first, Miss O'Malley?
Congratulations.
thank you.
Okay, everybody look right here. 1, 2, 3. One more. 1, 2, 3. Okay.
Congratulations. Do you have family with you? Would you want them to come up?
Well, sure.
Yes.
Ready, 1, 2, 3. One more. 1, 2, 3.
He wasn't listening, was he? Congratulations.
Ready, 1, 2, 3. One more. 1, 2, 3.
Congratulations. Good morning. Congratulations. You got them here too? All right. Oh, yeah, you did good. Baby's here this morning. She's so excited. Come on. Here we go.
Right here. 1, 2, 3. One more. 1, 2, 3. Thank y'all.
All right. She's adorable.
Okay, thank you so much. We are so proud of our STEM teacher leaders. We're going to move on now to acknowledge 2 leading STEM students in our state. The National Youth Science Camp is an all-expense-paid program proudly hosted in West Virginia since 1963 for students from across the country. The National Youth Camp is operated by the National Youth Science Foundation and honors high school seniors who have demonstrated academic excellence in STEM. In response to the COVID-19 pandemic, the 2020 camp will be virtual experience, including world-class lectures, directed studies, seminars with prestigious and upcoming STEM professionals. The camp will also provide significant opportunities for these delegates to interact and engage with STEM professionals. Our first recipient is Samara Arandia. She is from Hillcrest High School in Strawberry, Arkansas. Come on over here and we'll get your photo. Oh, really?
And she's so
Oh,
tall.
good. Oh, awesome.
Y'all can go to the front and just family.
Yes, family members, would you like to join?
Y'all should be getting really good at this.
Congratulations.
Ready? 1, 2, 3. One more. 1, 2, 3.
Great, thank you.
Congratulations. Congratulations.
Oh, thank you, thank you.
All right. Have one more?
I do, and he
All
is
right.
on Zoom with us
Okay.
this morning.
We'll get our board members back over
Okay.
and we will begin and recognize.
He's on Zoom.
Oh, you're going to do the picture for it? Yeah, okay.
Great.
Dan's working on it.
And if Alex Soto could unmute, we would like to acknowledge Alex Soto. Alex Soto is from Springdale High School in Springdale, Arkansas. So we're very proud to also acknowledge him as a National Youth Science Camp 2020 delegate. Hi, Alex. Would you like to say something? Whoops.
Oh, hello to everyone there. I'm just really excited to be able to receive this opportunity, and thank you guys.
Great. Thank you. Thank you so much for this opportunity. You have a wonderful day.
All right. Well, congratulations to teachers and students and all that work so hard. And I know when we see one person here for an award, there are a lot of people that are standing behind them, giving them support and working with them. And so we appreciate all of them that are also involved. So congratulations, Alex. We were glad that you were here with us this morning. Go and do great things.
Thank you so much.
All right. We do have some changes to the agenda this morning. We're going to need to add Hackett is going to be asking for a 1240 waiver, and we'll need to take a vote to add that to the agenda. And I would like to place it after the charter items right before we break for lunch, if that's okay with everyone. But we will need a motion and a vote for that.
Motion to amend the agenda.
Okay, we have a motion by Mr. Sutton,
I'll second that.
seconded by Dr. Moore. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
And I do need to say that we have 3 board members joining us by Zoom this morning. So we do have more than what it looks like we do have this morning. So there are 3 that are Zooming in with us this morning. So we appreciate them being here. We have one more item that we need to vote on before we begin. We do have some people here for public comment this afternoon, and so we need to vote to allow public comment if it's the board's pleasure.
I'll move to allow public comment.
Okay, a motion by Dr. Moore. Seconded by Mr. Henderson. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Okay, motion passes. All right. So we are moving on then to our consent agenda. Does any member have something that they would like to either pull or discuss?
Madam Chair, item 3, we have one request for a second lien bond issue, and I would just like to perhaps discuss that further.
Okay, do you want to discuss it now, or I'll pull it to the action and discuss it then?
Mr. Rogers, he was trying to get in touch with.
Yeah, they're trying to get Western Yale on the phone, so it might be best if we pull it for now and add it to the action agenda.
Okay, all right. So we will pull that item and place it on the action agenda. Are there any other items? I had a couple of questions on consent items. Item 4, Ms. Saraceni, are you in here? Yes. Just because we're coming out of COVID, how did this year, and you may not have a whole year data yet, but how did this year kind of compare with pre-COVID years? And we're discussing teachers teaching out of area. So how did we compare this year to pre-COVID?
Good morning, Carly Saraceni, Educator Effectiveness and Licensure. And compared to this time last year, which we're accumulating our numbers, last year we had 1,189 ALPs, which are additional licensure plans, teachers teaching on out of area. They have a license, they're just teaching out of area. This year we're actually down 1,154. So
Okay.
We're on that trend going back down.
Okay,
And we were higher than we were year before last in 1920. So
Okay.
we're going back down.
going back, okay.
Mhm.
So we
So
are
we're
seeing some
declining.
recovery.
Mhm.
Okay,
On our emergency teaching permits, we're also down on the slope. Back in 2021, the height, we had 418 working on an emergency teaching permit, and this year we only have 325. So we're seeing that trend start to decline.
okay, so we are seeing some recovery then. Okay,
And we hope it's our efforts in recruitment and retention.
Yes.
And the teacher pipeline, and with this new residency program. So we hope those numbers continue.
okay, all right, thank you so much,
All
thank
right.
you. All right, and one other question I had, and Ms. Douglas, I don't know if she's in here this, okay. And I won't reference a specific case, but it's just a question, I guess, in general. When a district has a teacher that has been undergoing some sort of ethics referral or investigation, and they terminated that district and they go to another district to ask for employment, what can the previous district reveal about that case to the new district?
Well, everything regarding ethics violations and investigations is confidential, so they cannot reveal that information. Now, the districts could put on their employment form or their application, are you under investigation, have you been under investigation, for the educator to report that, but the district cannot report that they filed an ethics violation against someone,
Okay, so.
because that remains confidential.
So the previous district could not say that there was any kind of a violation at all then?
Correct.
Okay,
And unless it's been in front of the state board.
okay,
If that case has been in front of the state board, that information is disclosable.
okay, so even if it's on the consent agenda, right?
Correct.
So once it's gone through
Because that
that
makes it
process?
public.
Okay, so once it's gone through the process, then the district could reveal that there was a violation of some sort?
Correct. And the district, if they're in hiring, they are required to look in AILS. Any violations that have come through you guys are listed in AILS with a banner.
Okay.
So if the district is doing their due diligence as they are required to by law, then they would see that themselves,
Okay, all right. That was,
without the previous district having to report it.
so okay, that makes sense. All right. I was a little concerned, so, okay, I got it now.
May I ask a question?
Sure.
Sort of, to Andy's sort of same item. Sometimes we get more information about the specifics of the case, if you will.
Right.
Sometimes there's not.
Right.
Like this time, unless I missed it from an update in the agenda, do we get more, I mean, was there more information?
On it.
All of them? For the three of them?
We sent the standard information, or was it not? I don't know. I don't know what you say you saw or didn't see, so I don't know how to answer that. Yeah, I mean,
What, I'm sorry?
In previous reports, I think we have seen more information than what we are seeing currently. It has been cut back, I think, a little bit, so it makes it a little bit harder to judge.
I mean, did you all see more information about the specifics about
I think we saw the same thing you did.
which was nothing?
so I guess depending on what case you're referring to, or if you're just blanketly referring to all, I can look into that and see kind of what we're providing. Some of that information we do cut out, because if it's in relation to a different educator that is not here for an ethics violation, then we wouldn't want their information to be released when this violation doesn't have anything to do with them.
Yeah.
So you can.
Is it because this is on the consent agenda and not on the action item?
You definitely get way less information on the consent agenda than you do on the action.
That's what I thought.
Everything that comes before you is available via FOIA, and so we do try to limit some of the exposure for the educator and the districts on that end.
So, Ms. Woods, are you comfortable with what we see?
On this one, because it's on the consent agenda, yes. We usually don't get any information once it's on the consent agenda unless we want to pull it to the action item. That's correct, right?
Correct.
That's what we've always said. So Steve, you may just be seeing, you don't see anything because this has already been agreed to by the educator. And so unless we want to pull it to review, I mean, I don't have an issue with what's been agreed to.
Okay. I got it.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Any other questions or discussion on any item on the consent agenda? Okay. So I need a motion to approve the consent agenda minus item 3, the review of loan and bond application.
Motion to approve?
Okay, a motion by Mr. Sutton,
Second.
seconded by Dr. Moore. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And remind those of you on Zoom, we do need to hear your vote to make sure we have it all on record. Okay, so we're moving on to the action agenda. The first thing on our action agenda is consideration of the Arkansas Better Chance Agency Grant Awards. Dr. Pride and Ms. Bridges.
Good morning.
Morning.
I'm Lori Bridges, the Director of Early Childhood Programs. And pursuant to the authority granted to the State Board of Education, the Division of Elementary and Secondary Education, Arkansas Better Chance respectfully requests approval for the Arkansas Better Chance Program Renewal Grants for the 2022-2023 school year in the total amount of $105,431,010. The requested funds for the ABC renewal grants will provide early childhood services for children birth to 5 through 231 agencies that oversee 533 sites, serving 23,527 children in both center-based and home visiting settings. These programs employ 3,535 early childhood teachers, paraprofessionals, and coordinators across the state of Arkansas. ABC is also requesting to support foster children as well as homeless and displaced children as the need arises. ABC would provide waivers in order for identified children to receive immediate services. The placement of a displaced child in an ABC program would add an additional child to that total awarded number of slots for that program. A request for the board to approve the Arkansas Better Chance Program Renewal Grants for the 2022-2023 in the amount of $105,431,010.
Okay, let's see if we have any questions. We'll go online first. Ms. McFetridge, do you have any questions?
No, thank you.
Okay. Dr. Rankin?
No questions.
Ms. Woods? Okay. On my left here, Dr. Moore?
Good morning. I should know this, and I'm sure some of these questions I might have asked before, but are these looking at just specifically at pre-K 4 students, or is it 3 or 4, pre-K 3, 2, or even younger?
Yes, it's even younger. Our ABC program provides services to birth to 5. So we do have infant and toddlers. Now, we provide about 10% of the total awarded slots to infants and toddlers. So 90% of that award does go to 3 and 4-year-old programs.
I know when we look at these programs, a lot of them have been around for a long time, but I know there are some parts of the state where programs have closed or where there just haven't been access. Is that something that y'all are actively working to recruit new centers or new districts where there is gaps in services? And are there any new ones this year? How does that work?
Yes, well, our appropriation, we've got a set amount of appropriation, so we allot $112 million to serve children in our funding. When we have programs that choose to not participate, whether it's area needs changing in their areas, we reallocate those slots to other programs that have wait lists
for qualifying ABC families. So we try to disperse those where the need is. Now, we do have wait lists across the state, and as we review census data and enrollment data across the state in our programs, we do look to see where we could reallocate to areas that are in need. But we do have processes for that. Now, as far as adding new agencies, there is a process, a competitive process for that as well. So we do have programs reaching out to us, looking into if there are available funding to add to their ABC programs.
That makes sense. When you're giving out the funding, is it a flat amount per student?
It is a flat amount per student. Now, the amount differs if it's a center-based or a home visiting. So there is a little difference in that award amount, but it is a flat funded.
That makes sense. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. Any questions over here on my right? Okay,
I
Ms.
just
Post?
wondered if you could elaborate. I noticed in Fort Smith, which is my home, that there's the center-based, but there's also the home visiting. So what does that look like?
That's the program model. So we have two program models, center-based, which includes any school program, center-based where it's an educational setting, but it also includes our family care homes. So that is a program model. And then we have home visiting, which is our HIPPY and our PAT programs, where we have home visiting educators that reach out to families, stay-at-home mothers, grandparents that care for their children, and provide curriculum resources and weekly visits to help them provide resources to become, their kindergarten readiness curriculum to provide. So it's an outreach program to support the home visiting, the in-home, not center-based, but the home visiting programs. Did that answer your question?
Yes, and not to go down too far of a rabbit trail, but I was just on a Zoom with the PBS group yesterday talking about Rise and Shine plans for this summer. So it might be a collaboration possibility, because I know they're working on curriculum and packets to send out, and I think every county in Arkansas is on board now.
Well, that is definitely something we can push out to our programs to have them share with the families as well.
Okay. I had a question, and things that we've been doing here lately has made my mind go this direction. What data does the ABC collect at maybe the sites or even as a whole to determine the effectiveness of what we're doing with the $105 million?
Yes, great question. Well, we do environmental rating scores, so we look at programs for quality. We've got quality standards that we expect all of our programs to implement. And then we also do child assessment data. We use what it's called a work sampling data system, where it provides performance-based assessments 3 times a year on the children, targeted on those early childhood standards that are required in our programs. And so we collect that data to show child progress throughout the year. We assess 3 times a year, fall, beginning, middle, and end of the year. So we provide that data to show positive outcomes. And we do a longitudinal study, which is on our website, that shows the data from year to year on the positive outcomes that our programs are providing children and families.
Okay. Is anyone at the state collecting that interim data that you're talking about that's collected 3 times a year and looking at it as a state? Do you know?
Well, we do share that data with our early childhood commissions and a task force, and we use that data to determine programming models if we need to, work with professional development, because the next part of this action item is our professional development, our technical assistant grants, where we use that data to, are there areas where we need to provide more support on, quality standards in those programs that may not be producing the outcomes that we need to see.
Okay. All right. It just seems like there might be an opportunity if there's some things that's being done that we might be able to use that in some way to think about what, as they transition from pre-K into kindergarten, there might be an opportunity there. Okay. Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Ms. Newton, can I ask
Yes.
a question?
Sure, I'm sorry.
No. How are you doing with teacher shortages, staff shortages? Can you maybe talk about that a little bit?
Okay, yes. Part of the quality standards for the Arkansas Better Chance is to put, qualified, credentialed teachers in those classrooms. We do provide staff qualification plans, so if they have a K-6 licensure but are wanting to teach in a pre-K program, we have avenues to help them get the added credential for 3 and 4-year-olds. And so over the last 2 years, we have seen an increase in teachers requiring a staff qualification plan to get their required credentials. As far as the staff shortage, we have worked with licensure and teacher effectiveness on providing an alternate plan to support teachers that are interested in the early childhood field, to give them an alternate pathway to receive those credentials. But we are seeing an increase in qualified staff, seeking those extra credentials.
Good. Okay. Thank you for that.
Mr. Henderson.
When looking at the proposed total slots, in regards to standardization, when you look at Arkansas River, obviously their numbers are so much more significant. What is the driving factor of that?
Need. When we have programs that, show a need in their area for additional slots, when they've got an area where maybe there is a high number of families meeting the qualifications for the ABC programs. And it's a higher income level than maybe your federal programming, pre-K program, or your Head Start programming. ABC is at a 200% below national poverty level, which that gets into, working families that are trying to, trying to provide a means of providing for their family without the high cost of, childcare. So it's just, a needs assessment that we do surveys in those areas.
Any other questions from board members? Okay, I think we're ready for a motion.
I'll make the motion that we approve the ABC program grants.
Okay, we have a motion by Ms. McFetridge,
Second.
seconded by Mr. Henderson. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, motion passes.
Thank you.
Okay. And you're here also for the professional service grants.
Yes. ABC professional service grants support 3,535 ABC early childhood teachers across the state, their paraprofessionals, coordinators, and school administrators with training, coaching, technical assistance, and services in order to provide the high-quality early learning environments for our children. ABC early childhood staff are required to complete 30 hours annually. That's both the teacher and the paraprofessionals in those classrooms, in the area of trauma-informed care, child growth and development, social emotional learning, mental health, health and wellness, emergent literacy, learning experiences in the area of math and science, and serving children with special needs. Family engagement is a top priority, as well as the Arkansas Child Development and Early Learning Standards that we use to support continuous quality improvement in our programs. So a request for the board to approve the Arkansas Better Chance professional service grants for the program year 22-23 in the total amount of $6,514,219.10.
We'll see if we have any questions. Ms. Woods? Dr. Rankin?
No questions.
Ms. McFetridge?
No questions. Thank you.
Anyone over here on my right? Over here? Dr. Moore?
Ask if I believe these sound all familiar, but are there any changes this year that have occurred?
No changes. Well, no, we have the same amount of professional service grants this year as we did last year.
Okay. Thank you.
I had one question. I know that you discussed that you had standards. Does that make its way down into curriculum, that the programs have a standardized curriculum, or do each one kind of do their own thing?
At this point, Arkansas Better Chance provides an approved a list of curriculum. It's a comprehensive curriculum, so it is a requirement that each program implement an approved comprehensive curriculum.
Okay.
The division, we have the Pre-K Rise initiative that we are supporting to help with that kindergarten readiness for those foundational literacy skills that we can provide children in the pre-K setting. So we're working to align those
Good.
with our kindergarten transition plans.
That's the word I like to hear. All right, good job. All right, any other questions? Okay, I think we're ready for a motion. Don't everyone speak at once.
Motion to approve.
Okay, a motion by Mr. Sutton.
Second.
I'll second.
By Dr. Hill. I heard Dr. Hill first, so we'll go with that. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, thank you so much for being here this morning.
Thank you very much.
All right, we're going to look at consideration of charter school amendments. Dr. Sutherland. Good morning, welcome.
Good morning. So Matthew Sutherland, Standards and System Support Charter. We have Founders Classical Academy, and they are actually requesting to add a new virtual building. Statewide enrollment will be for that building. And then also to increase the enrollment cap from 2,500 to 3,000 to accommodate those students.
Okay.
And I believe Ms. Provenza is on the call.
Yes, I'm here.
I'm looking, so. Oh, I see you now. Okay. All right. Welcome. Glad you're here. Do you have something you would like to share this morning?
We are just grateful for the opportunity that we had to present this to the charter authorizing panel. We're looking forward to the possibility of being able to serve more students across the state of Arkansas.
All right. We'll see if any board members have questions. Anyone online have a question? No? Okay. On my left, anyone have a question? Am I right? Okay, so I think we're ready for a motion, and this motion will be to either review or not review.
I'd like to make a motion not to review.
Okay, we have a motion by Mr. Henderson not to review,
I'll second.
seconded by Ms. Woods. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion passes. Congratulations. Thank you for being here this morning.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
The next item is actually Premier High Schools of Arkansas's charter amendment, and they are requesting to add a virtual building with statewide enrollment and to increase the enrollment cap from 625 to 875, and that would be to accommodate the new students. And I believe Mr. Felton and Mr. Shack are on the call.
Okay. Welcome, gentlemen. I'm still looking for you. Are they there?
Good morning. Yes.
Okay.
Good morning.
Oh, I see you now. Okay. Good morning. Welcome. Do you have something that you would like to share?
So I can just second Susan. We're excited about the opportunity to reach more students and continue to spread this model across the state of Arkansas. So we thanks for the support.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you for being here. We'll see if we have any questions from any board members. Anyone on my right? Over here on my left? Anyone online have a question? All right. So I think we're ready for a motion to either review or not review.
I'll make that motion not to review.
Okay, Dr. Rankin made a motion not to review.
Second.
Seconded by Dr. Hill. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank y'all.
Thank you for being here. All right, we are now to our Hackett 1240 waiver. I think I see Dr. Pfeffer coming to present this one.
Yes, good morning.
Good morning.
And so the Hackett School District, last month we reviewed the criteria around Act 1240 waivers, and we've started really working with school districts to help them understand when they're coming to us with a waiver, we need to make sure that the criteria are in line with what the 1240 waivers are for. And so when we look at the criteria for enhancing student learning opportunities, promoting innovation, and increasing equitable access to effective teachers, we looked at what Hackett School District was asking to do, and they are working with UAFS with their apprenticeship model for educator preparation. You've had other districts. I think last month we had the Alma School District come to us and ask for this similar waiver. And so we've visited with the leadership at the district and reviewed this application. And this is one that we feel fits perfectly in line with what an Act 1240 waiver is needed for. And that is to allow the mentor teacher the ability to work directly with 2 teacher interns who will be in the classroom. But that mentor teacher will be the teacher of record, but she will have assigned to her, I think, a little over 50 students, which necessitates the need for a waiver from the teaching load requirements. The mentor teacher will be dedicated to training the 2 apprentices who will then complete their education program and licensure requirements, and will hopefully become part of our teacher workforce very soon. So we feel comfortable with all of the supports that the district has put into place. So we would recommend approval for it, but the superintendent is available if you all have any other questions, and or if they would like to present anything.
Okay. Who do we have online? Do we have someone from Hackett on?
Yes. Mr. Ray looks like he's got some technology. Okay.
We're having trouble with that. Can you hear me?
Yes.
I have to turn my volume down when I'm talking, so do you have any questions for me? I didn't have anything to present. I think Ivy did a great job.
Okay, all right. We'll see if we have some questions. Anyone over here have a question?
So this is to go into effect in the next school year. Is that correct?
Yes.
Have y'all already identified the college students who will be participating?
We have our mentor teachers picked, but Dr. Riley might could answer. I don't know who the students are.
I'm Dr. Monica Riley from the University of Arkansas, Fort Smith. We have a group of students who have met the requirements to apply for this position. The school district will be interviewing them and selecting who is the best fit for their building. But it's about 12 students or so that have applied for the apprenticeship. We also have this in Fort Smith and now in Alma, so they're all interviewing for that same.
Okay, so the district is selecting those individuals, but
you all,
do they have to be recommended by you all in order to apply?
They do. They come to me and I vet them, and we ensure that they have a sufficient GPA, that they have no dispositional issues. They interview with me. I then make a recommendation and allow them to apply once they have interviewed with me and they've been vetted by the university. They'll also receive the same support as other interns. So they'll have a university supervisor that will visit them throughout the semester and supply support as needed to both the mentor teacher and the student.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone over here have a question? What about online?
Question.
Okay. I had a couple of questions. What grade levels are you intending this to be for?
5th grade.
5th grade? Okay. And how long is this waiver for?
It was 5 years.
Or would, Dr. Pfeffer, are we comfortable with 5 years, or are we, because we've been kind of thinking about 3?
So the request is very narrow in terms of the scope for the waiver, because it's not waiving licensure.
Okay.
Okay, it's waiving the, well, let me go back now. I shouldn't have said that. I may need our standards for accreditation, the standard 1-8.6. So it's waiving the teaching load for the teacher.
Okay.
Okay, so I do know it's waiving the teaching load and then the compensation. So right now, if a teacher is teaching more students than what the standards will allow, the law is very prescriptive in the amount of money that the teacher would be paid if they agree to take on additional students. In this case, because the teacher is put in a role where she's supervising others that are going to actually be teaching the class, but helping to develop the skills of the teacher, this is changing the dynamics, so they needed a waiver for that. The specific waiver, Mr. Sutherland, if you would come, because I think that's important when we do these waivers, we need to clearly articulate for you what is being asked to be waived. So this,
So what we have is 1A5 is class size for next year, and 1A6 is actually teaching load. So
Okay.
it can't have over 150 students.
Okay. And then this is a full year, going to be a full year mentorship?
yes, I believe that's right. Dr. Riley is shaking her head. Yes, so this will be for the entire school year. That's something you may want to discuss, is that if the district then wanted to continue to implement the apprenticeship model, that if they did that next year, then the waiver could also apply for districts as they do that. You could decide to do it for the 1 year, but what we could do is, make it clear that this would apply as long as the district is participating with this specific type of model.
Yes.
And then it could go on there. This should be made clear in their teacher recruitment and retention plan that this is something that they're doing. And then at the point, if they're not participating, then of course, we wouldn't want to just be saying, okay, now each and every teacher can have 100 kids and no additional compensation.
Okay. One last question, Dr. Pfeffer. We've approved several of these apprenticeships, and I'm excited about them. Is there any way that we can start collecting data, student data, from these teachers that are being mentored, and maybe doing some comparisons on the effectiveness of the program?
We can. I think what we will need to do so we have just issued a survey to all districts around the teacher residency model for assessing the level of readiness, the level of interest for districts that are going to implement. So I think it gives us the opportunity to then collect from districts like Alma, Van Buren, and Hackett that are already getting started. We are going to need to capture the fact that they are participating. And so once we have that, then we can go back and have them report out on successes. I think the challenge will just be when to collect the information and how to bring that back to you.
Right.
So that's definitely something we can discuss in terms of what would we use as criteria for success in terms of student outcomes, but it's also about increasing the pipeline as well.
Sure, but we want to make sure we're doing the right thing for kids, and so we want to, and I think we are, but I would like to collect some data to back that up.
Okay, so probably the best thing would be maybe we need to sit down in a work session and actually say what would be some success criteria that we would expect.
Okay, all right, thank you.
May I address?
Yes.
As part of my research with the university, I'm actually collecting that data.
Wonderful.
I can provide student data for the classes where we've had this apprenticeship thus far. That data will show you common summative assessments, and it will also show you that the data for those students, those apprentices that are in those classrooms, has student outcome data equal to or greater than those other teachers in that building. So I'm glad to provide that to whoever would like to view it.
I think that would be something great if you could share that with maybe Dr. Pfeffer or Dr. Sutherland, and then maybe they could get it to us at
We
some
can
point.
do that, and then Dr. Riley, I think that will help us as we're working with other institutions and districts to build that into the university's part of the process.
Yes.
I thank you for that.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you so much. All right. Any other discussion or questions on this item? Okay, so I think we're ready for a motion. You are quiet this morning. What, did y'all not wake up, or what's going on here?
I'll move to approve.
Okay. We have a motion by Dr. Moore,
And I'll second.
seconded by Mr. Sutton. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right. That brings us to the end of the morning, and it is not even 11 o'clock, guys. What has gotten into y'all? Y'all are doing good. Good job. So would it be okay, I don't know if yes, okay, I see a shake of the head from Ms. Freeno. We're going to move on to the afternoon agenda. The item is final approval of DESI rules governing military child transitions. Good morning.
Good morning. My name is Whitney James with the department. These rules were given final approval back on March the 10th, but prior to when they went before ALC, an additional change was recommended and incorporated at section 3.5. And the division is requesting final approval of the rules with this one additional change.
Could you be specific on what the change was?
Yes, ma'am. At Chapter 3, Section 5, there's one paragraph that states that the division will cooperate with the Council for Military Children to develop a guidance document to assist parents with the application and provisions of the Arkansas Military Child School Transitions Act and the rules. And that's the only change that was made.
Okay. All right. Any questions or discussion from online?
No.
Okay. On my right? Dr. Moore?
Yes, I was just gonna make sure, so this has approval from the military committee? What's the, this was reviewed by the military committee?
Yes, ma'am. I discussed this with Colonel Cominar.
Yes.
And Colonel Cominar?
I'm
Let
sorry,
him speak
the
a little bit
name
more
of the
about that.
committee has lost me, but I wanted to hear their perspective.
I did discuss this with him, and this guidance was already being discussed, and it was going to be developed anyway. We just added that to the rules. That may answer your question, but.
And ma'am, I'm completely confident we can get that guide done.
Okay.
We're on board with it. We can make it happen.
Great. Thank you. Thank you for the work y'all do.
Yes. Okay. Any other questions or discussions? Okay, we're ready for a motion?
I'll make the motion to approve.
Or I'll second.
Okay, all right. We have a motion by Ms. McFetters and a second by Dr. Rankin. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Congratulations. We appreciate your work.
Thank you so much.
All right. Do we have any new business?
We do have the item that was pulled from the consent agenda. Ms. Klaus, Superintendent, Western Yale, and Mr. Beardsley, they are both on and can address questions that the board may have.
So we are moving back to the item that was on the consent agenda. It was item 3, V3, review of loan and bond applications. And Mr. Sutton, I think you had some questions.
I did, and let me tell you why I raised the question. You know, second lien bonds are typically issued based on excess debt service mills. They're excess, so you're able to borrow more money. And this is a small district, based on what I can see here, actually less than 350 students in the district. It's not a high leverage by any means. In In fact, it's low leverage, both on its debt per student as well as its debt per assessed value. The issue, my question, has to do with the fact that the debt service, it's just $1 million second lien bond, but it appears as though the debt service is not covered by excess mills. In fact, they'll have to dip into M&O millage revenue in order to pay for the debt, and that's a little out of balance. Now, I've talked to Mr. Rogers, and he's certainly got more familiarity as well as experience in this area, and he advises me that it's not unusual for small districts to have to dip into M&O mills in order to pay debt. One of the saving factors I think he brought out that I've learned this morning is that this small district does in fact have about $900,000 saved up in their building fund, which would not put as much strain on maintenance going forward if they've got those kinds of funds. But it's a district that is, somewhat on the cusp on its enrollment, and yet its financial ratio is a little out of balance. So, Mr. Rogers, do you have any comments on that, or we want to hear anything from whoever's at Western Yale?
Okay, yes, I'm the superintendent. I'm Ms. Klaus, and I think Mr. Beardsley's on here with us. And yes, we are a very small district. When I stepped on campus last March, there were a lot of, other issues. Academics was my biggest concern once I got to campus here. They had been kind of cut to a skeleton crew as far as teachers, staff, and the academics was suffering tremendously. So we have spent some money to hire some additional staff as far as interventionists, some additional teachers, tried to do everything we can to get the academics caught back up and get them back where they need to be. We're trying to provide a quality service for the students in this area. And I understand that we've lost students and we're under the 350, but the academics is really the thing that I think would put this school finally under. We do have over $900,000 in the building funds. We are able to use some of that. We just did not want to deplete all of that for a building project. So right now we've got some kindergartners who are out in kind of a strip mall type building. It's an old building. It's hard to keep clean. It's hard to maintain. And those kids just aren't, in my opinion, safe out there because they're separated from the rest of the students who are in one building. So we really need to try to add on to that building and get those students in there. And also our art and music go out to that building. And so it just puts added risk for kids. So it's one of those things, it's a tough situation, but if we want to do best and do right by these kids and try to make this school a successful school, we've got to be able to do a little bit of building.
I certainly wasn't questioning the need for the funds. I certainly understand that. It might be a good idea to try to raise more millage. Districts are, supposed to retain the first 25 mills for M&O. And when you dip into that for debt service, then you've sort of cut yourself thin on operations.
So, actually, they have the 38 mills right now.
I see that.
And so the 25 they do have to use for their part of foundation funding, but that 13 mills over, if they have any excess debt mills from that, they can and do. A lot of small districts do have to use that for operating from time to time on that. And so that's what you see going on with Western Yale right now. But the thing, even though they just dipped below 350, having the $900,000 in their fund balance shows that she has been putting some back for those rainy day situations, sort of those that do happen. So since their debt ratio is a little over 10% now,
it is low.
Adding this $1 million to it, plus having the $900,000 in their building fund right now.
Right.
So she's had to make some hard decisions, is having to use her excess debt operating mills to do some operations with, her excess debt mills to do operations with. But going forward, with only the $1 million in the second lien bond, when we met with them on April the 13th, we had a separate meeting with them and actually had some questions that we had answered to. And that's why we felt better about the recommendation going forward with y'all.
Do you think, the $741,000 annual P&I payments is an accurate figure? There's not any chance that's an error, is it?
I don't, that would probably be something that Ray could probably talk about, but we did talk about it, and it looked, when they talked about it, it looked right when we had it on there.
That just seems high for $3.5 million in debt.
I don't know if Ray could get on and talk more about it.
Mr. Beardsley, are you on? I'm not sure he's there.
And I understand, bond debt service is not a flat amortized payback.
Right.
And so some of that may, I think maybe you mentioned that they have a couple of issues that are maybe rolling off.
Yeah, they do in
So
the next couple of years. They do have one bond that will roll off
The
on that.
required principal
Yes.
is usually loaded heavier on the back end.
Yeah, so they are on the back end of it.
Skew that figure. Okay, I'm fine.
Well, may I ask a question?
Sure.
Thank you for your expertise.
Yes.
Mr. Sutton,
Absolutely.
I should know this, but is this something that will be taken to a vote after this, or once we
No.
approve it, the district is able to do it?
Well, I think we have to approve it, but second lien bonds don't require votes of the citizens.
Okay.
Correct.
Patrons.
When it is the case that they are using some of the money set aside for the M&O, is that something that has to be approved by vote or included by vote, or can that just be
So, no, when they have their operating mill, when they have their debt service mills and they are paying those off as they're paying those off, and that assessment on those mills is still generating those revenues, that is excess debt service mills. That is something that is being, just the value of land going up and excess mills are going up, that they can use those for operating it. It usually says, and anytime you do a bond, for other purposes as needed by the district, and so that allows them to use it where they need to do it. And you do see that with a lot of the smaller schools having to use some of that net excess debt for their operating.
And then it's because this district is below 350. I know there are triggers in place if there's fiscal distress or any of that. So are you all? It sounds like you're working with them. Do you monitor at this point in time what's going on?
Yeah, anytime they go under 350, that we do monitor them and make sure that there wouldn't be any early intervention questionnaire that we would need to send to them.
Okay, thank you, and thank y'all for getting on today.
One question for Ms. Claus. How is your enrollment? Is it continuing to decline, or has it gotten stable?
It still has not stabilized. When I came here last March, my first goal was to increase enrollment. And I realized that was not the most important thing. Like I said, the academics kind of became the most important thing. And the board, we granted several transfers out. We had disgruntled parents who had been here for a while and things had not been good. And so we granted those out, let them go where they were happier, and felt like we needed the students who wanted to be here to make it better, and that's what we're trying to do. So it has not completely stabilized yet, and that's what we're trying to get to, a place where people do feel good about sending their kids to school here. And in this 1 year that I've been here so far, the positive changes have been good, and they've definitely outweighed the bad. And we have been able to save money and move money into the building fund over this past year and last year. And at the end of this year, we are projected to move some more over. So we are trying to save and not, just spend every dime that we have. We've saved almost $1 million in that building fund. So, and we just didn't want to deplete all that to do this build.
Right. I can understand that. I just want to say I appreciate your focus on student achievement and student safety, keeping your focus on students. So I want to say I appreciate the work that you're doing there. Any other questions from the board? Mr. Sutton?
No, ma'am.
Okay. So we are ready for a motion.
I'll make the motion to approve.
Okay, we have a motion to approve by Mr. Sutton. Seconded by Dr. Hill. All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Congratulations, Ms. Claus. We wish you the best and wish your students and your faculty the best.
Thank you.
All right, so now we go back and do we have any new business that we need to discuss? Okay, we're going to take, because I think we can move on to reports. Are you okay with that? Okay, we can move on to reports. So we're going to take a break here. We'll do about a 10-minute break and give Ms. Sharon a time to get her things, and we'll come back at 11:20. Dan, are you ready to go again? All right, we are back, and thank you for allowing us to give Ms. Sharon a time to get her things together, and I'm sure she appreciated that this morning. And so we are to the report section of our agenda. Does anyone from the board have something that you would like to share this morning? I have been waiting. Oh, you have something, Dr. Moore? Okay. I have been waiting for this for 2 weeks. I'm so excited. Mr. Henderson, you had something? Go ahead.
Thank you, Chairman. I just want to say that last week we had an incredible opportunity. We had the Arkansas State Board leadership come up to Northeast Arkansas to Blytheville, Secretary Key, Dr. Pfeffer, and Ms. Gina. And I tell you, it was a very, very impactful meeting. And the intent of the meeting was just to have a meaningful conversation with the educators, city leaders, and also the business community. We have a lot of amazing things happening up in Northeast Arkansas with job opportunities, workforce, and education. And when they left, I tell you, we were very, very pleased. It was almost like a revival. And it was a great opportunity, and just the fellowshipping, being connected, kind of like the old insurance salesman. When you're operating from a satellite perspective, sometimes it's very difficult to connect. But just knowing the State Board of Education has our back in Northeast, knowing they are a resource, I tell you, we were very, very excited. Thank you.
We are. Those are the kinds of things that, when they happen, come back and movement happens. So we're excited to hear that. Anyone else from the board have something to share? All right. I had been excited about this for a couple of weeks and couldn't wait to share it with you. And I'm not sure that I will be able to share how impactful this experience was on my life and how impactful that I think it's going to be on the state of Arkansas. A couple of weeks ago, I was able to go with Ms. Post and then some others from here at the division to the White River School District in Buckley, Washington. And they are a PLC, not school, but district. And everyone in that district, from the bus drivers to the janitors to the paraprofessionals to the teachers to the administration to the school board members, and I'm not saying this lightly, everyone in that district is totally focused on how can we impact student learning. I mean, everyone was there. And so that's what I want for not just some students, that's what I want for all students in our state. And this I'm going to be honest, some of the things I saw brought me to tears. I mean, that's how impactful this was. And I'll get here. And Dr. Pfeffer, can you share this with the ones that are online? Maybe email this to them. This that I'm sharing with you is the alignment that they are doing there. If you look at it, the last two columns down there are what we've done here in the state. It's at the teacher level and the principal level, but they've taken it all the way up to the school board level. The school board members know what's going on in classrooms. They are developing policies, and they are modeling data-driven decisions for the district leadership team. And then the district leadership team is taking that and then modeling that and developing things for the principal of school level leadership. And then that's going on down into the teachers. And they're all working collaboratively. They're working together to make and focused on learning and best practice. And I saw a collaborative team where it was a veteran teacher with some young teachers. I think misspoke. They were first-year teachers, if I'm not mistaken. And it was a math, and sometimes in elementary math, young teachers don't have the background and the knowledge of mathematics, and it takes a while for them to get the vocabulary and the things going. But I mean, it was like they were on level with this veteran teacher, and this collaboration, this team was almost like a professional development built in for those veteran teachers to mentor them and bring them up. And their whole focus was, what can we do for this student, first of all, for Tier 1 learning, that everyone in that classroom was getting good content and getting good learning, but then coming on down with those struggling students, what are we going to do about them and how are we going to help them to move them up? And it was focused. Even the school board members, our school board member that came in and talked to us, she was modeling and doing the things that we want to see at every level. And if you look at this model here of aligning the teams here, I think what has come out of this PLC work is, if you look at it, and I don't know if they've got it up on the screen good, there's those 4 columns. What we're thinking about is there's a column missing, and Dr. Pfeffer, you're going to help me with this. There needs to be a state column. We need to be involved in this work. We need to bring it along. We need to get our part. We need to be modeling data-driven decisions that are going to have impacts on districts. And then those districts go back and have an impact on their schools. And those schools go back and have an impact on their principals and individuals. And then they go back and have an impact on teachers who are impacting student learning. You know, one thing that I heard said, that every agenda, every time that we meet, we need to be focused on classrooms and student learning. What can we do as a board to impact student learning? And another thing that and if you look at my notes of the things I wanted to say, and I've gotten off track, I don't know how, I haven't gotten any of them, but one thing that and it makes sense, if you look at these 4 levels, each level is leading the next one. Well, if we put in a state level, one thing that she said is, or we learned, was, you can't lead what you don't know. Okay? We can't lead this PLC process if we don't understand it ourselves. And Ms. Wendell sent out an email to you, I think yesterday, that there's an opportunity for some training for us in July. And what I would like for us to do is start thinking about this as a board. What can we do as a board to impact student learning? And I think one of the first things that we can do is think about us getting some training, either through the PLC Institute, if you are able to do that. If not, then we're going to get some people to come in and do some training here for us as work sessions, maybe starting in July, because we will have 2 new board members in July, to think about getting on track. And one of the, Dr. Pfeffer is going to come and talk to you, I think, a little bit more, because I'm sure I've made a big mess of this. But one of the starting points is, what can our focus be as a board that's going to have the most impact on student learning? And I think she's got some great ideas to lead us through. I know I've talked with Ms. Kaufman, and she's got some great ideas. And so I think we're going to become a team, I hope an effective team, that can have an impact in that 5th column that we need to add, that is the state column. So I know Ms. Post was there, Secretary Key was there, and Dr. Pfeffer, and y'all feel free to jump in. But I think this is going to be the one thing that we can really do that's going to have an impact. It's not going to be a fast. I'm not saying this is the magic bullet that's going to come in and today we'll do it and tomorrow everything's going to be all roses. It's going to take time, okay? But I think if we implement it effectively, it is going to have a great impact on student learning. So feel free to jump in anytime you would like.
Well, I love seeing Ms. Newton excited, and I know everyone else does too. And it really is a great opportunity. So what you see here on the screen, this is an example of what they've developed in the White River School District. And really what it is it's that depiction of the alignment of their teams, and that's what we saw in that district. The way every system was aligned and led to the goal of student learning. So the teams work together, the information is shared, and then you see that the information is constantly flowing back and forth, so that as goals are met, then everyone knows what it is that we're accomplishing. Everyone knows kid by kid, skill by skill. I think one of the things that really resonated with me is when we were in a classroom observing the teacher teams, I sat down by their assistant superintendent, and he has many roles and responsibilities, and so I mean this focus on learning doesn't mean they still don't have to worry about their bus routes, and when the roads flood, having to have late starts, and meetings with auditors, and all of that was still going on, and the assistant superintendent was really helping to make sure all the business stuff was taken care of. What really struck me is as he's sitting there and I sit down, he leans over to me and pulls up a data sheet. He knows how many students, so there were several elementary schools in the district, we were in one of them. He knew how many students in that elementary school in 5th grade did not meet the standard for the learning last week, and he knew their names. So that kind of a system, as she said, that doesn't happen overnight. We're not going to be able just to do that, but overnight, but we can if we start with that vision and helping our districts to set up those layers of leadership, those systems of support. And at that point, and it gives me goosebumps to think, when he says kid by kid, skill by skill, I mean, he could tell me, and he knew who it was. And what you see here, when you think about the systems and that reciprocal accountability, it wasn't that they were going to the teacher or the parents of those two kids and shaming them or, you know, being demeaning. It was then about, so what are we doing to make sure that we're intervening for those kids and we're still continuing on. So this work here was what White River shared with us. We have the opportunity to take it, work with our schools and develop what's right for Arkansas. And as Ms. Newton said, our goal is going to be to create that state level column. Our team got to spend 2 days with Dr. Keating this week. We got to start working on that. So we're going to be hopefully next month coming back with an Arkansas alignment proposal to share with you. We'll do some tweaking and adjusting. We've got a lot of school districts that are ready to take what that foundation that we've built from the school level work. You know, we've had so many schools. In fact, Dr. Wally is on her way back from another celebration that we've been able to do with our cohort schools becoming model schools. And so if she walks in the door, she'll be running up here to share more with you. But those schools that have had such deep support with that training that they've had, we've got schools that are ready to get their district aligned and get their districts ready to really move. So we're already at a great place to start seeing some progress. And I think it's going to be really exciting work. And I think from the department and the board partnership, that's going to be huge in moving this to scale throughout the state. So I know Ms. Post may have some additional things because she was an integral part of that visit a couple of weeks ago.
So many things, and every time Ms. Newton would share or Dr. Pfeffer would share, I would think, oh, and I want to add this.
Yeah.
So it's all kind of frazzled, but I think my big takeaway from the state level all the way down, like, we have to get on the same page.
Yes.
And there needs to be a common mission and vision that everyone in the state of Arkansas understands. There's no reason why we should stay at the bottom of the barrel when the numbers come out every year for student achievement. And then at the state level, the districts specifically, you shouldn't just be doing well because you're from Northwest Arkansas. I think that this is a step towards true equity in our education system.
Yes.
And as someone who fought for that in an alternative school for 5 years, it gives you goosebumps to think maybe we are finally focused on the right work. And just to take a huge step back, we throw around the acronym PLC, and if you take those 3 words apart and just pause and reflect on each part of that for a second. So, professional. I think post-COVID, so many teachers right now don't feel like they are being viewed as professionals. And Ms. Newton, like you said, that this is a chance for embedded PD, where those veteran teachers are getting the chance to mentor, to coach, and that these newbie teachers, these novice teachers, aren't going to feel like they are out on an island trying to do the work without that support. I think that this is going to feed teachers feeling like professionals again. Learning. The focus was on learning from the board members, all the way down to the teachers, and that layered leadership that they had scaffolded in, where teachers had opportunities outside of becoming building administrators to promote and to take on more responsibility and to impact at a greater scale. And then, so P, L, and C for community. And I think we've talked about that a lot here at State Board, about the power of a community. Dr. Hill, I know that you are passionate about the effect that a community, when you're bringing in the support of faith-based and all of those things that can wrap around, but this is a chance for real community work within our education system. And I think that, I mentioned this earlier, but kind of teachers off on these islands trying to do the work alone. I think this is a huge step towards us coming together, making sure that we are on the same page. PLC question number 1, what is it that we want students to know and be able to do? We have got to get clear about that at the state level and that trickle down. And then how are we going to know that they've done it? Right. How are we assessing? And then how are we going to support them if they already knew it and they're bored, right? I think some of my alternative kids were just bored, honestly. I don't think it's that they were struggling learners. I think they were gifted and talented and didn't ever get identified. So how are we going to scaffold the ones that do need the support, but how are we going to differentiate for the ones that are sitting in class bored and are maybe being misdiagnosed as ADHD or whatever? I don't want to get too far into that. My biggest takeaway is just that this is the right work.
Yes.
And when we look at this chart, the arrows, we've got to stay very intentional about those arrows, that the data flows up and informs, and then the practice, the processes need to very clearly come down to where we stay about the right work.
Yes. One thing that I took away also was when someone had trouble, whatever, if that you're in that first column and someone over here has trouble, it's not a got you, it's not, you're not doing this right. Let's pull up a chair beside you and what can I do to help you? And that's what we want to be about. And we've been trying to do this. I know Ms. Kaufman and I've had these discussions for a long time. What can we do to support? That's what we want to do, and that's what this model is a support model for every layer. So I'm really excited. And Secretary Key, what do you want to add to that?
Well, I was going to cover that and part of that in my report.
Sorry.
So I'm glad to move into that if you're ready for that.
Sure.
Okay.
Sure.
All right. So I was going to talk about the White River School District trip. And so not adding anything to what we've seen other than this. Dr. Keating did make a comment. I had asked her the question about what are they doing to address the learning loss due to COVID, and specifically what are they doing with their funds? And she said, I haven't spent a dime of it yet. I said, really? She said, yeah, because everything we need to catch kids up we have in this process that we've established already. Now they've been doing it 10 or 11 years, so it's not, as you said, it's not something that happens overnight. But I will point out that the work that y'all saw on that visit is work that we have already started doing in our level 5 districts, Earl, Lee County, Pine Bluff. Lee County probably is the most advanced at this point of our level 5 districts. Ms. Smith, Stacy, would you agree that as far as our level 5 districts, I mean, Lee County is the one that's probably moved forward the fastest and embraced it the best, and we're seeing progress there, and we really expect to see those outcomes in the state assessment. But it's not just about the state assessment. That was the other thing that was so clear in the conversations that we were having. It was looking at what do those essential standards say we need to make sure kids get before they go to the next grade level. And in too many places that just around the nation, that doesn't happen because you're trying to cover everything. You can't cover everything. Our standards, no matter what state you're in, our standards are too broad. But if you can identify those essential standards and go deep into those, then our kids are going to be better off. So it was a great trip, and I appreciate the members that went and the other superintendents and board members. I think that's important to know that we had board members that, from various districts that were on that visit as well. And I think it was a very productive visit. And then, so the work will continue. Mr. Anderson, I was going to talk about our trip to Blytheville. You said it was like a revival. I don't know if that means I was the evangelist or what, but it was a very good trip, very good visit with the community. There are a lot of positive things happening in Blytheville area in Mississippi County, and I think the elements are there for some great success. And Dr. Perkins, Veronica Perkins, many of y'all may remember Dr. Perkins from when we were working with her, and she was a member of the Little Rock School District team. We're very excited that they have selected her as their new superintendent. We bragged on Blytheville Primary School as they've been identified, and they are a model PLC school there. So that's for their K through 2. And we expect that there'll be a lot of building on the work that they've done. So it was a very good visit for us as well. Over the last, I think Dr. Pfeffer mentioned that Dr. Wally was coming back from a PLC celebration. We've had a number of those in the last several weeks. I was able to go to 2 of those in Stuttgart, and we joined the Stuttgart team and Dr. Moore. And they had a fantastic celebration there at Park Avenue Elementary School. And then yesterday I got to visit Mableville here in Little Rock. And very exciting, and just hearing the teachers talk about their journey over the last 3 years through that project. But the most exciting part was they had a basketball game theme. So they talked about their first year and their second year in the project were the first 2 quarters, and then we got to halftime, and they said, well, and halftime isn't halftime without some halftime entertainment. So we went outside, and they had a drum line set up. Coach Hill, you would have been excited. I mean, they need to come out and play for 6th and goal sometime. They had a drum line, they had some girls, they were dancers, and they did a wonderful job. And on my way back into the building, Dr. Wally, I said something to her about the music teacher, and she said, oh no, he's not a music teacher, he's their head custodian. Their head custodian had taken it upon himself and asked if he could set something up and work with those students. And it was for the same reason, Dr. Hill, that you and a number of others established 6th and Goal. He said, they need something to do, they need something positive to direct their energy. And so you had elementary school students out there. It was amazing, the work that they had done. And his name was Mr. Exon. So if you ever get a chance to visit Mableville, Mr. Exon is there, and out of his excess, in his heart, he established that for those kids. So I thought that was pretty spectacular. Just want to keep y'all reminded about the summit, and I had dates, and I was going to look up those dates, and I've forgotten. So, Ivy, Stacy, somebody give me the dates again for the summit. July, June, July 11th. Okay, thank you. July 11th through the 13th. So if you want to get that on your calendar, and you would be more than welcome to come by and see what we have. We're still working on all of the presentations, but we're very excited about the breadth and depth of items that will be discovered or will be presented that week.
Location is
It's be at the Hot Springs Convention Center. Yeah. And then just today, earlier this morning, Ms. Saraceni sent us a pretty exciting update about two of our students in Educators Rising from Dollarway. They have competed in a state and regional events through Educators Rising, and they have written a children's book. So these are two of our students. They've written a children's book, and they published that children's book, and they're having a book signing as a way of celebrating their accomplishments, and that is going to be May 26th. So we're, we've honored and recognized student achievement, teacher achievement today, and just would like to close my report with honoring those two students for their achievements and their hard work. I mean, when you're not a teacher yet, and you could say you've published a book,
that's pretty awesome.
That's a touchdown, Dr. Hill.
Yeah,
so,
it is. Yeah.
All right. And happy to answer any questions about any of those items or anything else that may be on your mind.
Anyone have a question? And I forgot to give you the dates a while ago for the PLC training. They are July 6th through 8th, and it is here in Little Rock, and I think Ms. Wendell sent you the information on that. We're going to go back. We skipped you, Ms. Post, but that's okay. We monitor and adjust as teachers, right? And so we're ready for your ATOY report.
Quickly on the children's book, and I'll touch on this, or I'll just start with this actually. All of the Teachers of the Year have been invited back to work with PBS for Rise and Shine again this coming summer. 22 math lessons I'm in charge of for 3rd, 4th, and 5th graders, wow. Which is, we have our little Teacher of the Year group text. So afterwards we were like, is anyone else a little scared now that we know what it's like to be in that studio for 3 days? And it's a little overwhelming to try to film and all of those things, that number of lessons. But what I wanted to emphasize is that there is going to be an increased, they're wanting to recognize local authors, but there is going to be, what is the word I'm looking for? More, I can't think of my word. I'm going completely blank. They want to emphasize local authors, and they are wanting to elevate, that's not the word I'm looking for, but literacy. Not promote, that's not the word either, but literacy. And so they've asked us, and this was just yesterday, so this is perfect timing, but they've asked us if we can identify local authors who are willing, because it will be read and it'll be out there for everyone to see. So I don't know if that's maybe a conflict with funds and their book selling and it kind of being out there. But if I'm a published student author, I would love for my book to be read on PBS. Mm-hmm. So, and I'm wondering if maybe we can have them come read their own book at the studio. That would be incredible if they were willing to do it. But I want to make sure that I get that information. Emphasis, is that the word? That's the word I want. Increased emphasis on literacy. There we go. Okay, so after the last state board meeting, Dr. Hill and I got busy real quick on the next month's worth of activities. We went straight over to the Dream Center, and I got to put eyes on that. And let me just take a minute and brag on the work of the adults there. You talk about a place of joy and engagement with those kids. You can walk outside and there were balls flying, balls going over the building maybe, but those kids and those adults were just doing life together. And I saw kind of the power of mentorship and relationship and how that's impacting those babies. And then inside the building, went into a classroom, and there was a wall with prayer requests posted, and I thought how powerful that is to know that these adults who aren't your family, they're not even necessarily your church, but that they cared enough to know, what is it, kiddo, in your life that I can help support you with. So that was beautiful to see. There were girls that were in a really quiet classroom where the lights were low. They had like twinkle lights up, and they had their journals out, and they were journaling, and there were reflection questions. Everything about it was beautiful, and I just want to applaud the work that's being done there. And I don't know if I can invite them, but I invite all of you to go over there and see that, because it's a very good thing. It's good for kids. Educator, absolutely. Do you want to add anything to that?
I just appreciate you going. I think you validated the work. I remember of one of the teachers who had said that she had left, and the teaching profession, and we're sitting here talking about she's a certified teacher that left, and you asked her why, and I thought that was very interesting. So for her to share her frustration with you, but now she's doing what she wanted to do that didn't think she could be done in the classroom, and she is a certified, she was a great teacher that, we're great to have her in our program, but when we sit here and do 1240 waivers, she doesn't need a waiver, but to teach, and she's a quality teacher, and I thought that was profound for you to leave what we just did last month for 1240 waivers to realize there was a certified teacher out there who said she didn't want to be in the classroom. I thought that was just, for us to see, and for her to share that with you as Teacher of the Year, why we're losing quality teachers because of the frustration and the things that, but she wanted that type of learning environment that she was doing, and that's what I just observed. I said, wow, this is pretty eye-opening to me as a state board member, as I know Commissioner Secretary Key, they're trying to come up with ways to get more teachers. And just because I'd never known that, and probably I wouldn't have asked the questions you asked her, just because I wasn't astute to realize what the challenges she was having for her to live. But she is an awesome teacher, because I see her every time I go there, and to share that experience, I thought it was incredible. So you validated her concerns, and I think now she felt like, wow, the Teacher of the Year came and asked me, and that was, to me, of everything that was there, I was happy to be able to take you there to hear from her.
That's powerful, thank you. And I'll just quickly, to connect that back to the work that we saw at White River School District, they talked about the bookshelf and how teachers have a tremendous amount of creative liberty in the way that they teach. It's just getting very, very clear about the way that we bookend that work, and beginning with, here's the standard, and we are going to monitor the learning of that standard for every child in that classroom. The other end, the other bookend, is the assessment. But that teacher that Dr. Hill referenced, I think felt, and I talked about this earlier, that her professionalism had been invalidated and not celebrated. And so much of this work, if you look across the chart, celebrating. And so yeah, that was some really good information from her just to find out. And my two questions were, why did you leave, and how do we get you back? So I think this is part of that work. Educator Signing Day at the Capitol. That was an incredible event. Anything with new teachers, the Ed Rising and the signing days are always just a moment to celebrate and to encourage some of those. I try to stay as long as I can and talk to anyone that wants to talk about the profession. So that was a good day. I finally got my picture with the governor without masks on. He was so kind to make sure that happened, and then I got my signed copy in the mail. So Secretary Key, I think that maybe you had helped me out on that too. I know that I had made that request to you, but in my local district, I've gotten to do some work with teacher onboarding, and the way that we're trying to make sure that our teachers at the local level are day one ready, with our math curriculum team. And also we recently announced our Fort Smith Teacher of the Year, which was exciting. And I know there's a lot of that going on in different districts right now. Venus Torrance, who's our Teacher of the Year coordinator, she and I were on a Zoom yesterday to try to support the ones that have been told that they have won. But I know there's still several that don't even know yet. But for the ones that know, we were supporting them just in the application process because it is rigorous. And I know that you'll appreciate this, but I just kept encouraging them to be authentic and transparent, and not to think that we are looking for a Teacher of the Year that can say all the right words and kind of be the puppet. It's not that at all. We want to hear what you're passionate about. So it was good just to be on that Zoom meeting with them, and we decided at the end of it that we need to have a second one for the ones that are still finding out that they've been nominated for their district. So that has been scheduled. Arkansas Ideas. So every Teacher of the Year gets to create a professional development course. I kind of thought that mine would be about halfway finished by now, but we haven't started filming because this speaks to the quality of PBS, I think. They are wanting to make sure that we get everything right in the way that we present it, and knowing that this professional development session will be on the LMS for years and years to come. So I appreciate the perfectionism. As a type A perfectionist, I appreciate that they are trying to get it right. But that is definitely in the works, and I've had some meetings lately where we are kind of sketching out exactly what we want it to look like and who will be on it. And to kind of connect to that, I was at Archford Co-op for an entire day of professional development led by me, which was a first. I've led multi-day PD before with curriculum that I had not designed. Maybe I'd had a part in it, but it wasn't like all my baby. And then I've been on the other side of it where I've helped create for other people to present. But this was an interesting day it was all mine, and I was the one presenting all of it. And I love to end PDs with just a reflection moment of, I used to think this, but now I think this. And some of the takeaways, and these were teacher leaders. These are master teachers, potentially lead teachers that we've talked about with elevating teachers in the state. And their reflection was pretty phenomenal. A lot of it was around how ineffective punitive discipline can be, and suspension, and the way that we need to engage students and keep them in the classroom to help close those learning gaps. I've already spoken about Rise and Shine. I'm very excited about that, as are the other Teachers of the Year. I only have one more meeting with y'all, one more board meeting, and then Jessica's up. And I just wanted to add that she will be one of the teachers on Rise and Shine this summer. So she is hitting the ground running. I was honored to speak at, it was a joint leadership conference with the Arkansas School Board Association in conjunction with AAEA. And it seems like every time I speak at an event, it trickles into other speaking. So that did. It trickled into going to Russellville School District and speaking at a breakfast with their Chamber of Commerce. They were having a signing day, not for future teachers, but just in general. And that was really neat because I got to kind of reference my former experience in the business world. And then I just challenged the kids to be sponges, to soak up everything that they could from whatever future career, and to tell them that they never know that God might land them in a classroom one day too as a teacher. So to keep that, I took the opportunity to recruit indirectly. And I think, yeah, that's it. So one more meeting. I cannot explain how quickly this has gone. 11 months with you already. I have one left, and I will probably be a sappy, crying Teacher of the Year next month, but it's been an incredible ride. I'm ready to pass the baton. Y'all are going to absolutely adore Jessica. She's incredible. And it's crazy that she hasn't even officially stepped up yet, and we're already about to start looking through applications for her successor. It's a constantly evolving cycle. So thank you.
Well, once next month is over, maybe you can sleep, because I don't know how you ever find time to sleep now. We appreciate all your hard work, and you've done an excellent job. We're very, very proud of your work.
Ms. Newton, if I could just mention the two young ladies, my email had locked up, so I couldn't pull up their names. But the two young ladies that I mentioned that are Dollarway students, Savannah Lawson, she was the illustrator of the book, and Jasmine Stennett is the author of the book. And the title of the book is Mello's Aquatic Life.
All right.
Yeah, so just wanted to throw that in there in case anybody out there in the Zoom world is listening and might know these two young ladies. They can tell them that they heard us talking about them.
We love to honor students for sure. All right. Anyone else have something? I think. All right.
Ms. Newton?
Yes.
Hey, I'm sorry. I probably should have said this a little bit ago when we were talking about board presentations. I just wanted to give a shout out to Mrs. Blassingame at Thomas Jefferson Elementary School. I had the honor of attending her being inducted into the Milken Educator Award program at Thomas Jefferson. I told Ms. Smith when I got to go, it was super special because Thomas Jefferson is where I went to kindergarten. And so to come back all these years later and see this precious teacher just get such a huge award, I was absolutely blown away. And so I just wanted to give her a shout out because, as you know, the Milken Educator Award is not something that you get nominated for and you don't apply for it. They find you. And out of all of the educators in the United States, for one of our own up here in Northwest Arkansas, that was super special. So I just wanted to give her a shout out.
Yes, we actually got 2 from Arkansas, and that is pretty amazing to have 2 in 1 year from Arkansas. So we're very proud of those 2 Milliken winners. Anything else that we need to add? Okay, we did have some public comments, and I want to welcome you all here this morning. We're glad that you're here. Right? Well, it's not quite this morning. We're a little afternoon, but do we want to? Did I skip some? Oh, I did. I even have it highlighted on there that not to skip it, but y'all know how I am. We do have one more report, and I'm sorry, Dr. Pride. Oh, okay. Ms. Nail.
Yes.
Okay, we are doing an annual report of the Advisory Council of Education of Gifted and Talented Children. So welcome.
Yes. Good morning. Crystal Nail, Office of Gifted and Talented and Advanced Placement. I'm here to present the annual report for the Advisory Council for the Education of Gifted and Talented Children. This is a 9-member council that's appointed by the governor, and one of their tasks every year is to prepare an annual report that includes highlights as well as recommendations around continuing to improve gifted education in our state. And so they have 2 recommendations this year, and those include removing the option to waive gifted and talented services for charters and districts with charter-like waivers. And the second recommendation is increasing the award amount to districts that receive the Act 56 award for outstanding gifted programs. And on the Zoom, we have one of our council members, Dr. Curtis Cunningham, who's currently serving as the co-chair of this year's group, and he's served on the council for several years previously. So either of us are available to answer any questions or give additional information.
Welcome, Dr. Cunningham. Do you have something you would like to share?
I just appreciate the continued support for gifted education throughout the state of Arkansas, and appreciate you considering our recommendations as well.
Thank you for being here. We'll see if we have any questions from any board members. Are there any questions online? Okay, over here. Just real quickly, maybe can give us a little bit of an outline of the reasoning behind your 2 recommendations.
Sure. So the rationale behind our recommendation for the waivers is just our belief that students that attend charter schools will still benefit from the services of the Office of Gifted and Talented. And, excuse me, so the waivers might inadvertently create situations where some of the students that are gifted and talented and attending those charter schools may not receive some of the services that they would in a regular public school. So Crystal's office, her department, does a great job of supporting school districts, and we believe strongly that students in those charter schools would benefit from that support as well. Regarding the increase in the Act 56 award, it's been a long time since that amount has been increased. And so we know that districts truly appreciate that award, and it is our pleasure as a council to be able to award that and to recognize school districts that are really doing exemplary work. So we would just like to advocate for being able to bless those districts a little bit more.
Okay, all right, thank you. I think that we appreciate your work, and we'll hope to work together in the future. So thank you. All right, so now we're going to, Secretary Key.
I just want to say how much I appreciate Crystal and the work that she does. The Office of Gifted and Talented really supports a lot of districts out there, and just pointing out that the Act 56 Outstanding Gifted Programs that we selected 2020, just to bring it back to your memory, Paris, Berryville, and Fayetteville, and those are identified based on the size of the district, so they're grouped together, less than 1,000 to 3,000 students, and then over 3,000 students. But also, just to say, the summer enrichment programs, you may recognize the name of Aegis programs, just to talk about how much work Crystal has done to find ways to try to grow those programs, open up access to those programs, and improve the quality of those programs. And I think that's something that, since she's here today, I wanted to give her a shout out and appreciate the work of the council as well. So both of these recommendations would be things that we would have to be addressed in a legislative session. But as Ms. Newton, you said, we are happy to continue working with them, and they are invaluable to us in helping us keep a pulse on what's happening in the gifted and talented support world out there. So I appreciate this entire committee and the work they do.
Yes. All right. So we're going to move on. Now we're going to move on to public comments. I'm sorry for leaving that item out for just a minute ago. And just to remind you, we will hear public comments, but each public comment is limited to 3 minutes. Okay. The first one I have is Charlene Wright. Okay, so you want to go with Julius Wright first? Okay. All right.
Good afternoon. Arkansas State Board members, Commissioner Key, and all others present. I am Julius Wright. In December 2021 and January 22, I came to you as a concerned Pine Bluff School District stakeholder for the consolidation of Dollarway and Pine Bluff School District. Today, I'm still for the consolidation of Dollarway and Pine Bluff School District. One of my concerns in December was the lack of leadership, academic, and fiscal process in the district. The leadership still has not initiated the clear process to remove the district from fiscal distress with a deadline of June 30, 2024. The administration is not trying to resolve the issue of fiscal distress by maintaining 2 high schools, 2 middle schools, 2 central offices, 2 athletic programs, and ultimately 2 different districts. The Dollarway district is not the first to lose its identity in the old-timer Cheryl lost its building and identity of the burials of Fred Martin when they were annexed. Pine Bluff School District lost the Southeast High School. lost to Panthers. Mill High School lost to Tigers. And Dalloway lost to Townsend Park Eagles. The losing of identity maximized cost saving and the staffing issue of Pine Bluff High School. The leadership did not inform the community of a local election for an increase of millage to help with the added expense inherited with the Dalloway School District. The Arkansas State Board was made aware that the merger of two high schools would save $681,000. But yet, the annexation, it is apparent that Pine Bluff School District is level 5 intensive support, and fiscal distress is not a concern of the leadership, nor the Arkansas State Board of Education. The Pine Bluff School District, the receiving district, is not benefiting from the proposed $3.5 million in incentive funding to remove the fiscal distress, to sustain the future of our district, or to meet extra criteria of level 5 intensive support by November 8, 2023. Concerns of students and stakeholders' concerns have escalated from late teachers' paycheck, transportation employees, athletic facilities, concerns to vote or no confidence in building leadership, district leadership, and no confidence in annexation. So the community has released open letter to Secretary John Key. The Pine Bluff Mayor has held roundtable meetings with Secretary John Key and Governor Hutchinson and other community stakeholders. Stakeholders are meetings in consolidated in no confidence in the leadership, in no confidence in the annexation that is impacting our student learning. Again, we petition you to grant consolidation to the Pine Bluff School District, will allow us to find a permanent,
Can you wrap up real quickly?
which will allow us to find a permanent superintendent who is effective in all areas of the school culture, will result in the best interests of student, community, and the new formed district. Thank you for allowing me to have public comments.
Thank you, Mr. Wright. Mr. Wright, are you ready? Yes. Okay.
Good afternoon, Arkansas State Board members, Commissioner Key, and all others present. I am Charlene Wright. As well as in December 2021 and January 2022, I came to you as a concerned Pine Bluff School District stakeholder as a 41-year retired educator for the consolidation of Dalloway and Pine Bluff School Districts. In our continual petitioning and pursuit of what is best for the interests of our Pine Bluff School District, we reviewed the video footage and the transcripts of the annexation meetings. We felt disenfranchised and violated as we reviewed the transcripts. November the 13th, 2020, transcript, page 63, Deputy Commissioner Smith communicated that another decision that was made, and it was deliberately made, was to do only feedback from the Dalloway community. Pine Bluff School District was deliberately and intentionally denied equity of engagement. I heard someone say equity of engagement. The power, someone said, of the community prior to the annexation, which would have shown that the Pine Bluff stakeholders was for consolidation, being the receiving district of the Dalloway School District. Secretary Key, Superintendent Warren, and Deputy Commissioner Smith all spoke that the former Pine Bluff School District stakeholders wanted consolidation in the videos and the transcripts. July 1st, 2021, we feel that Pine Bluff School District was deliberately given the same leadership, superintendent, executive director for instruction that was promoted from a school improvement specialist in Dalloway, and supports that were not successful in Dalloway School District in exiting level 5 support and fiscal distress. We are concerned that a deliberate decision to maintain costly buildings and staffing in Dalloway School Districts for 2 years, as it was communicated in the videos and transcripts, approaches our November the 8th, 2023 and June 30th, 2024 fiscal distress deadline and level support. We are concerned that the things that are being done to the Pine Bluff School District is deliberate and jeopardizing our fiscal stability and not to make us meet the level 5 intensive support criteria that will set us up to be annexed or consolidated into the remaining school district, and also subjecting the former Dollarway School District to more than 5 years of level intensive support, and which was not, as it was stated, you do not have the authority, but it was done with the annexation.
Thank you, Ms. Wright. Next, I have Trammell Howell. Hi. Sorry if I mispronounced your name.
That's okay. I just want to thank you for your time. This is my first time ever coming, and I appreciate you taking the time out of your schedule. And I hope you all received an email that I sent you back on April the 12th concerning the Pine Bluff High School PTO and concerned parents. I am the president of the Pine Bluff High School PTO. I have a son that's a junior there at Pine Bluff High now, and we're planning to have him there for 1 more year so we can finish. But I hope you all received that. I did see Ms. Newton, you did respond. Thank you for that. And I just wanted to say, you know, we're just concerned with the actions that are being taken with the administration that we have in place. Mainly, I don't see where Ms. Warren has a proven track record to have been in a position to have turned around a school to get us out of what we are in. Yes, she was at Dollarway. Yes, they made some improvements, but they didn't come out. So we are still concerned that we have been given a superintendent who can't bring us out. And I don't know where we are with that. So we have security request. We got a few things that we requested. We wanted a third-party security audit done so that somebody else that knows about security can come in and say what we need to do, because at this point it's obvious that they have no plan as to what we can do for Pine Bluff High School, because it's so open. There's no plan that they've actually come up with for us to address that. We also want to move forward with what was submitted when we had Dr. Orr in place as our temporary superintendent when he was there. There was a plan put in place for a new school. You guys approved that in August to give the $12 million toward the new school. The next step, according to Secretary Keys, was a millage should have been put in place so that we can get the funds going. So at that point, somebody has failed us because that's not been done yet. So therefore, we've not started building on our new school yet. And then the things that we keep hearing is that we're going to wait for the full board to be in place. So with that, they said a limited board could possibly be chosen. So we're saying we need to have elected limited board instead of just an appointed limited board. So that way we can make sure the people that's on there has gotten training, you know, are qualified, know what they need to do, and know their roles. So we don't be back in the same situation that we were in, because that's why we're here, because we had a board that was not doing their job. And I agree with the state taking us over and being a part of that. I was totally in agreement with that. And then I think we just need a national immediate search for a new superintendent that has proven capabilities that they can do this, that they have turned around a school, that they have bought them out of whatever they're in, the situation that we're in. We just need somebody who we know can do it and can communicate. That's our issue. With no communication has been going on from Ms. Warren. And I thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Alfred Carroll. And I apologize if I mispronounced names. I've had my name mispronounced all my life, so I understand.
Good morning, thank you.
Afternoon.
Well, when you get my age, just to recognize you is good. Okay. Let me thank you for allowing me an opportunity to share with you this morning. My concerns and observations as it pertains to the Pine Bluff School District. By the way, those were some awesome reports you all gave. Your words, the excitement in your voice reminded me of my experiences as an art teacher, assistant principal, elementary director of ALE in the Pine Bluff School District. However, respectfully, I must tell you that what I've experienced at the end of my 39-year career in the Pine Bluff School District, and currently what I see in my community, respectfully, I must say to you that the Department of Education and even you, board, are complicit in our continued failure. Just as it is with other minority-led school districts across the state, small school districts, I believe the department, again, yourselves, are complicit in that continued failure. Too often, the ADA officials that were sent to observe certain critical corrective measures in the district were inexperienced, unfamiliar with local district dynamics, department regulations, and were there only to pad their resume so that they could go and be a real superintendent in a school district somewhere else in the state. Real assistance by the department and by you could have negated the need for our conversation this afternoon and the turmoil that I see and is experiencing in my community and others like it across the state. Thank you so very much for hearing my experiences and concern. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Carroll. And I'm not sure, Rosaline, I can't, okay, all right.
Rosalind Mauser, longtime resident of Pine Bluff, Arkansas,
Okay.
graduate of the Pine Bluff School District. We're not where we need to be. There is plenty of fault to lay at everyone's door. But I have been a practicing lawyer in Pine Bluff now for 37 years. I've worked downtown in the Simmons Bank building all that time. I am now been very involved in Go Forward Pine Bluff, was asked by Mr. May to chair the Government Infrastructure Committee and served on the board since it was formed. Go Forward Pine Bluff and Pine Bluff are making progress for the first time in 30, probably 7 years I've been in Pine Bluff. We need your help. I don't think we're getting the help that we think we need. Go Forward has listed 6 things that need to happen. They can all happen. They're not impossible. And that's the good news. Number 1, as Ms. Howell has said, we need immediately a third-party audit of the security that is or is not in place at Pine Bluff High. That's easily done. There are people out there who will take money to get that done. Number 2, we need to have one high school. The Ottaway School District doesn't exist anymore. Why did Ms. Warren buy new football helmets and jerseys for a school district that doesn't exist anymore? That is very difficult to explain to a non-educator. Very difficult to explain to this lawyer. Number 3, we need to see and get approval of the renovation construction design. We need public input, we need qualification, and we need to get a millage placed, and we don't need to wait on that. Pine Bluff citizens have imposed a tax on themselves to build a new aquatic center, a brand new library. We passed the Go Forward Pine Bluff tax. We are willing to pay, but we need help, we need leadership. We have no board. Who was going to take the responsibility and inform us, hey guys, y'all need to get organized and get a millage? Nobody reached out to us. That's not very good. I will take blame as a citizen. Maybe I should have known about that. I did not. We need that done. We also need to implement academic and extracurricular excellence plans. You know, our Ms. Warren admitted recently in a facilities committee meeting, she has done nothing to try to recruit students, teachers, or faculty for this next year. I don't know how you get that done if your leader doesn't start. How can we impact student learning if the superintendent that we currently have does not seem to be interested in doing that? And that's the last thing. We really do need to conduct a national search to get a superintendent who is qualified to do what we need done. This is a time where the Pine Bluff community will respond. It will not be like it's been in the past where we've been lazy perhaps, ignorant of what we need to do. Give us a chance, join with us, and unfortunately, I think from what I've heard over the last few months, that is going to mean that Ms. Warren has got to be removed. And the good news is there are people out there that can help us get that done. Thank you for your time and your service to the state of Arkansas.
Thank you. Okay, Donna Barnes. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, guys. You all not very happy. Well, good afternoon. My name is Donna Barnes, and I am an alum of Pine Bluff High, of course, and citizen of Pine Bluff. And these are some of my teachers that are retired and like that and still kicking and administrate. So they have been a part of everything. But I'm happy to be here and happy to be able to address you guys concerning Pine Bluff School District. From the thing is, at first I want to urge you all to definitely go along with the search. We need a national search. It has nothing to do with anything personal or anything like that, but the district is not moving forward. Actually, we're backtracking. And Ms. Warren, she's not transparent. She does not take the time to really work with the citizens. The students don't hardly know who she is or anything. And one of the things that we try to work with them that's really, really hard is when you know, our yearbooks and things like that are very important because they're part of our history. And one of the things, and I was just brought to tears to some of the students, is that we have lost yearbooks and things of that nature. I volunteered to come over and work with the district and like that. And then she came up with a yearbook like this, misspelled words, the kid's name. My son was a senior in that yearbook, and his name is somebody else in the yearbook. There's a lot of errors and like that, so I came over and worked on and got a book, and she said, this is a college yearbook that we produced, and refused to produce another yearbook for those students. So as a part of their history, they won't have anything. And the little girl that was a queen of my church, the yearbook and everything is gone. And she refused to do anything as far as that. She had a meeting with some of the students, the parents and like that, and she refused to do anything. She continued, and she may be certified, but she's not qualified. Our district does not need a doctor. We need a surgeon. And we need a surgeon immediately. We need to stop the bleeding. And it's time out because she has a brown face and I have a brown face. It's not about that. It's about the students. And if you were asked to look, they're not cutting the grass, they're not doing anything over there. And she's waiting on security. So if our security money, if she's afraid of those students, if she's afraid of the parents and like that, then she needs to go home. Pay for her own private security. Don't use stakeholders' money. Don't use taxpayers' money to use for security while you stand by, idly by, and not answer any question or anything like that. So there's nothing personal and like that. She's always absent. I told her. She said, oh, that's probably true. Exactly. You're at the beauty shop, you're everywhere, except for there for the students. The school is a mess. The teachers are not doing what they're supposed to do because they don't really have the support that's actually needed. It's in your hands. It is in your hands. And God has placed this part obviously in your hands in order for you to make the decision. I want you to make it on behalf of these students, the ones that you love, because Pine Bluff District has birthed people from all over the nation. We have Arab pilots, we have U.S. from the U.S., all over everybody, and they are professional. We are counting on you to make a decision and take care of them. Thank you.
Thank you. Erlene Collins. Welcome, Ms. Collins.
Good afternoon.
First, I'd like to mention that I am a former administrator at Pine Bluff High School, former math teacher, and I do work with Go Forward, and I'm also involved in a lot of different things outside of the school. I'm a citizen of Pine Bluff. I'm very concerned about the Pine Bluff School District because I understand that we have produced people all over the world that have been great students. They have great careers. Some of them are my doctors. So we're very proud of Pine Bluff High and Pine Bluff School District. One of the concerns that I had is I cannot get the words. It's as if something has been lost in what we truly wanted. We had a no confidence in the superintendent, a vote of no confidence, concerned citizens. It's as if everything is okay, but it's not okay. Because one of the things that concerns me, the very first meeting I attended was a facilities meeting. When I found out about the meeting, I found out through a mayor of another place, not necessarily Pine Bluff. We had no idea that that meeting was taking place. When I got there, there was information only on the facilities. The other thing that that concerned me, there was nothing on academics. We, to this day, do not know where Pine Bluff School District stands academically. We also don't know where we stand as far as your level 5 plan and whether or not we will actually exit it properly. And I'm very concerned because we don't know anything about it. I'm very concerned because we have the same group of people that handle Dollaway and work with Dollaway. They're working with Pine Bluff. And if Dollaway didn't make it through this, what assures that we will, that Pine Bluff School District will? And the other thing that concerned me was accountability of the leadership. One of the things I noticed being an administrator from Pine Bluff High School, I knew that there was something very wrong when school started. One of the things that I looked at was all of the fights that took place. There were always fights, but the point is you have to prepare for them. You also have to be held accountable as an administrator, not necessarily sitting behind your desk. And I saw some things happening. I even picked up the phone and made a phone call to see if there was anything that I could suggest that might help. I have a granddaughter that's graduating from Pine Bluff High School on Friday of on the 20th, I don't know what day that is, but anyway, I was very displeased because I had to call to get her into a classroom. Her mother and I worked on her schedule earlier together. I used to work with the counselors. I was supervising the counselors. So I knew what the process was. We got that together, but still she was out of a classroom for 2 weeks without a schedule. And I simply insisted, I need her in a classroom. She's lost 2 weeks of work. She could fail. Her absentees, she's probably being marked absent where she ought to be. So my concerns are dealing with things that shouldn't have to happen that way. So therefore, I feel that any step with the current superintendent would be a backward step due to the lack of confidence by the students, the staff, and the patrons of the community of Pine Bluff.
Thank you, Ms. Collins. Virginia, okay.
Good afternoon.
Afternoon.
I'm Virginia Himes, retired teacher, art teacher from the Pine Bluff School District. I love my job. And I want to say that Ms. Newton, that the second Milliken Award winner was our art teacher, Mr. Alicia Thomas from Pine Bluff. Yeah. And she's awesome. But we got great things going on. But because of these things that's occurring as distractors, I loved what I saw this morning, all the good news about the success of the students, the teachers, the staff. We have that. And when I saw those different things that is going on in the different districts, Ms. Collins and Ms. Collins, who just told you she was a former educator in terms of being a principal, we used to fuss, but it helped us because they gave us all these wonderful staff developments, because it helped us to challenge those things that would definitely make our kids understand that we love them. My point is this: when I see great things happening with our kids not being recognized, it says to me that leadership is not doing their part. And when the leadership is not doing their part, our kids have a tendency to lose out. I love to hear good news. I love to emphasize the fact that our students are doing great things, and they are. But you don't know about that because the focus is on poor leadership. The poor leadership has a tendency not to communicate the things that we need to know about. It's some great things that are taking place. I heard the Teacher of the Year, congratulations to your position, mention some things that a lot of counties are involved in that's going to help their schools. I heard about a mentorship program that is going to help assist teachers to do a better job. But that's leadership. You must have good leadership in order to see to it that our kids are going to be successful. What you don't realize, and you might know, we had 11 plus Gates Millennium Scholarship winners who received over $250,000. We used to have the billboards up to emphasize what they did. You know, to have our kids and not say or shine the light on them is just horrible. So I am at a point now, you know, here it is, we're retired, but we love that school district. We love our kids, we love our community, and we want to see great things occur. I heard somebody mention Aegis, brought back memories. I loved Aegis because, and that's another thing, you got to get up and work. You got to get up out of your seats from behind the desk and do things. Sponsor clubs. I'm hearing that we're not having clubs and organizations. They think they need to get paid for that. I don't understand that. This is for kids. So it needs to be communication. It needs to be a time where students can feel as though that they are reached to. Was there a strategy in place when the schools annexed to show that the kids, that they did feel welcome? Was there anything in place? Because it seems as though they don't feel like they're welcome. And the other thing that I see, you just need to put forth more effort, not on the tail end. School is out now. Something should have been in place. I think the annexation occurred July, 2021, and here it is, we're getting ready to go into the 22-23 school year, and everything is urgent at this time. We need to get back to our kids, get back focused on our students.
Thank you, Ms. Holmes. I love your enthusiasm. I would have loved to have been in your classroom. Amanda Root Barron, is that right? Good afternoon.
I am Amanda Roth Barron.
Okay, sorry.
Okay. I am here today to voice my concern on going forward with our beloved school and scholars, advancing as to the needs to advance the needs that us as the society is. When you complain about safety, tell us what your plan have been in place to ensure that the safety of our faculty and scholars. Tell us why you are spending money at the end of the school year on repairing buildings that you are not planning to utilize. Produce us a report of our financial budget and your spending. Are you trying to elevate us or are you trying to deflate us? We stand strong for a place that is the heart of Pine Bluff. And it is very historical. For me, my father, my mother, myself, 2 of my 3 children have been graduates of Pine Bluff High. To produce, all we ask for, we want to produce qualified educators and programs to promote our scholars and not fail them. And I have a sign, look like we're working on a one person action. And we need the whole community and the board to come in to help us, help our children. Because we got teachers that love working. And they love the kids and they love to see them happy and promoting excellence. And that's what we're here to promote, excellence. As we know, our society is continuing to elevate as far as going into everything is technology. And we need to promote our kids. We need better systems at the school as far as communicating to the teachers. Their Wi-Fi is not good, so the kids have bad learning experiences. We just need to promote excellence in the Pine Bluff School District and reassurance that we do not have the funding to promote 2 schools. That other school is in existence. It is 1 school, Pine Bluff High. Thank you for your concern and thank you for listening.
Thank you. Bernice Terry. Welcome, Ms. Terry.
Good afternoon. I won't take up much of your time. I'm just basically here to piggyback off of what the other guests have said. My concerns are academics, security, and as most have already voiced, that the Dollar Way Pine Bluff High should be 1 school, 1 campus, and don't stall. Warren made a comment that she was worried about the culture at the last meeting that we had. That has nothing to do with moving the campuses together as 1. There was many questions that was asked of her at meetings. She can't answer them. She gives you a politician roundabout way and never gives you a definite answer. So we're here, gathered here together in numbers to let you know Pine Bluff does care about our students. We're concerned about our academics. We have students that are being left in a gym. My grandson, just last week, was in a classroom without an instructor. He's calling home on the phone. That's unacceptable. We've heard great things about Blytheville, Mapleville. We want to hear great things about Pine Bluff High. We have great students. We deserve to have teachers that are certified in subjects that they are teaching. Our kids deserve to have teachers present every day, and we deserve leadership that cares. And we also deserve prompt, trained security. The security we have now is not trained. It was asked of Principal Anthony, and all he could tell me was that they were employees of the Pine Bluff School District. So therefore, they're not really certified security officers. She comes there, every time Warren comes, she has a security officer with her. I'm told a police officer. Our students deserve the same thing. So we're here showing you in numbers that Pine Bluff cares, we're concerned, and we asked the board to help us with these concerns we put before you.
Thank you. Maddie Collins. Welcome, Ms. Collins.
Good afternoon to the board, Commissioner Key. I am Maddie Collins. I am a product of Pine Bluff School District and very, very proud of it. I taught at Pine Bluff High for 35 years. I taught for 39 years, throughout Arkansas, really, Gould and Altima. I am very concerned about student success. We need to rebuild the curriculum at Pine Bluff High School to where it remains competitive with surrounding school districts. Our scholars are so smart. They are so smart, and I enjoy working with them just about every day. I'm the president of a nonprofit in Pine Bluff, the Ivy Center for Education, and we do free ACT prep workshops, and we've done it for years, and Superintendent Warren knows about this, but she never encourages our students to join our workshops. And that is really amazing to me because we have more students now that we're online. We have more students joining us from other states than right here in Jefferson County and in Arkansas. And many of those students have gone on to do well on the ACT and SAT because they join us. And Dr. Charity Smith, I'm sure you know her, she's our facilitator. And if these students would be encouraged to join us, I know their ACT scores would probably improve. We need more AP classes, and we need highly qualified teachers to teach those classes. Our students need more rigor and they just need a challenge. I had students at Pine Bluff High to recently tell me, we want to be challenged and we're not. And I know that's the truth. We need to build community partnerships so that the school and community can become better connected. Right now, we're not connected because Superintendent Warren, it seems as though she has another agenda and she does not really include the community. Community partnerships are essential for helping students achieve their maximum potential. We need to partner with local nonprofits, and we need to make our partnerships with two awesome institutions in Pine Bluff, the University of Arkansas at Pine Bluff and SEARC. Our scholars are so awesome, and they deserve the best. I taught AP World History, and I know that our students need the challenge and they need the rigor because they can do it. Our kids are smart, and I enjoyed every day of teaching. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Combs. Would you say that's been marked out? Okay. All right. Hang on, my fumbly hands here. Shonda Griffin. Welcome, Ms. Griffin.
Good afternoon. I wasn't planning to speak, but I was encouraged to do so. I'm going to be brief. Let's give our students what they need. Let's change our leadership. Let's collaborate and give our students back their school and give the community back their school. Let's give the new school that has already been approved at the location that we were told, and that's at the existing Pine Bluff High School campus. Everything is in your hands. If Pine Bluff School District is successful, this board before me will be successful. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Griffin. Ms. Freno, are there any more public comments? Okay. So I thank you all for being here. We definitely heard your care and your concern, and I applaud you for that because that's what it takes to make a difference. So thank you for being here today, and we appreciate it very much. Is there anything else the board has?
I was going to say, just for the record, I don't know. I will actually be in Pine Bluff Monday with the OK program that I've been working with Judge Brown on for the security purposes that they've there. So I will actually the founder of the program, which we finally got the police officer. I'll be there with him. I actually bring him to Pine Bluff, so I'll be in Pine Bluff all day Monday for the security concerns of the school that you have identified. And so I do understand the challenges there, and I'm looking forward to being there to learn what I can to be able to create a safer environment for all. It's hard to learn when you're fear, and so that wasn't planned until a couple weeks ago. I was talking to the security terms, so just let you know I will be there Monday.
Thank you, Dr. Hill. We appreciate your work on behalf of the students. Anyone else? All right, so we need a motion to adjourn then. I can always count on you, Mr. Sutton.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Sutton. Seconded by Mr. Henderson. All in favor? All right. We are adjourned.